I don't think in the time I was here, I didn't have any bad teachers. I had teachers that went above and beyond and made such a profound impact in my life. The times when I needed teachers the most, whether it was when I was at Abbott waiting for heart transplant, they drove down twice a week to teach this thick skull algebra, you know. But so I don't think we need to worry about separating out, you know, which teachers can make it. I think we need to figure out which teachers are really excelling, and more importantly, developing a way of assessing those that can really benefit from some mentoring and coaching to try to push and excel those teachers into that next level. I think that's what we should be aiming for.
Well, obviously, there's some pitfalls in some of these systems where you're, you know, grading one student against the next. I think ultimately what you'd like to see is students being challenged and seeing students improve against themselves in that classroom and in that environment with the teacher. If we can find a way to do that without creating an environment where you're teaching to the test, I think that's helpful and useful. Ultimately, that's what you want to see as a student being challenged. And I think to get that, you want to see a teacher connect with the student. Also, you know, peer evaluations where the other teachers are evaluating another teacher would be helpful and good. I think, you know, teachers, the worst thing that you can have as a teacher in the classroom that is check, you know, I'll borrow yours. It isn't exactly how you're using it, but you don't want a teacher that's checking the boxes. You don't want somebody that's just showing up and not really into it, doesn't care too much, where the kids aren't getting anything out of it. So I don't know what the answer is for what should be involved in the evaluations. I mean, I've got some ideas on some things that could be, but the evaluations are very important because we need to create an environment where teachers are challenged too, and where they're rewarded when they do well, and we can reward their successes and make decisions on which teachers to keep or to promote or to give raises to based on their performance in connecting with kids and improving the education of these kids. So thank you.
I retired in an industry where every 9 months I got to go down to Dallas for 4 days to go to the American Airlines Flight Academy and get evaluated. And we would spend 8 hours in the simulator, and we called those sessions Dial a Disaster. And if I failed the last 2 hours of the simulator, my job was on the line. So we got to do that every 9 months. And that's pretty standard in the industry. So I really don't have a problem with holding employees and teachers' feet to the fire. But who has to do that, and how do we do that? I'm a big believer that principals need to come out of the classroom. I don't like the idea of somebody going to college and saying, I'm going to go into school administration and never spend a day in the classroom as a teacher, because they really don't understand the problems that they have. My father came out of the classroom. He was a 7th grade math teacher and a 9th grade geography teacher. So I think he had a unique set of skill sets to help him when teachers had a problem. One thing I'd also like to see happen is that I think it's the union's responsibility to ensure that the teachers are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And I would also like to see the unions help the teachers with continuing education and create programs that would help these teachers get into master's programs. And I also think it's a responsibility of the unions to come up with some of the money for those master's programs and work with the colleges. You know, you have to do these things. When I was a member of the union at American Airlines, and 2 times I served on the Professional Standards Committee. And the last thing a pilot at American Airlines wanted was a phone call from one of the 7 of us. Because if I called their house and I said, this is Captain Perovich, they knew exactly what it was about, and they didn't want the phone call. Because bad things were about to happen unless they cleaned up their act. And the unions can do exactly the same thing. One of the things that we have to really consider, we've talked about challenging students a lot in here. Nobody said one word about challenging teachers. And that's something that we really need to do. Let's challenge our teachers as much as we challenge our kids. I think it'll make all the schools a lot better.
The last one here is not good. Hold my feet to the fire. I have taught classes on evaluations at 8-hour, 10-hour classes. I taught evaluations. It's huge. I would love to be involved with any type of evaluation setup. I'm a firm believer in the 360 evaluation, where the supervisor, the peers, and then the employee, customer, or in this case, students, have an input. I made some quick notes down here: 60% for the supervisor, 30% for the peer, 10% for the student. You have to have a combination of all three. Students, I believe, should have an input. Now, we can track on that. If kids can slam dunk a teacher or make them look good out there. Peers can slam dunk a teacher or make them look good out there. It's a balancing act. It's a huge endeavor. I would love to be involved in something like this. Evaluations are important. Granted, you have the gym teacher versus the math teacher versus the science teacher versus honors. There's a whole different ball game when you evaluate. We need to have an evaluation system. I believe in evaluations, yes. Have the students part of it. As a sub-teacher, I've done classes, and I said, okay, now let's take a look on this worksheet and let's talk about this. And I've been told by kids, well, Mr. Starr, we never do it that way. What do you mean you never do it this way? Oh, we just watch the DVD, do the worksheet, and that's it. And I said, oh, in my class, we're going to talk about it now. Let's go over the answers and discuss it. Well, we never done it that way. This is fun. I know it's fun. What does your teacher do? Oh, he or she does this, or they do that. I love to be in the classroom. I'm a trainer. I travel the nation giving training classes. I love to teach. And that's what we have to instill in our teachers. May you be a senior teacher or a younger teacher, the funness of the class. Make humor in the class. I have teachers in the school district call me and say, Mike, I'll be gone. Will you be available for my class? They like my classroom management. We bring in the real world stuff to them. And that's evaluating. What can I offer to the kids? And I offer a lot to the kids because as my retirement background, where I come from, I give a lot to the kids. Teachers sometimes are limited. They come out of college, like my niece, out of high school, 4 years of college, now she's in school. What real world does she bring to the classroom? Very little. To have fun. I bring real world to my class, and there's fun in there. Teachers need to do the same. But evaluation, it's great. We need it. Let's make it happen. Thank you. The 360 evaluation.
Thank you. Well, we actually are right at 8 o'clock, and I did say that we were going to have, if you had any questions for us, you got 30 seconds. Okay. If anyone really has any pressing thing you would like to ask us, so the superintendent is back. Dr. Busick? Okay, if not, I just want to thank you again so much for coming. I know this is a tough time. It's hard to run for election. We've all been there. Pounding signs in is no fun. Anyway, again, we want to thank you for your time. We want to invite you into our schools, whether you're elected or not. We are very proud of our teachers and very proud of everything that's happening in the schools. And if you ever want to go to any sporting event, we have passes. Come and see us. So again, thank you. Good luck with the election. And I'm going to have Mark wants to say just a word before you leave.
Just a couple quick things. For those of you who have been in office and are running for office, Brad Lundell, one of the lobbyists, from executive director of C, Schools for Equity and Education, is going to be knocking on your door, and you're going to hear equalization. And I can't stress that enough. That's one word you're going to hear, and that's what we need help with that. The other thing is the responsibility that you have going into office is, I think it's never been so critical as it is today with the needs that we have in our schools, because as a culture, as our way of life so depends more and more of preparing every kid to achieve at their highest level. Now, some are going to be the doctors and the nuclear physicists and cure cancer, and some are going to be out there being plumbers, truck drivers, you name it. But we cannot afford to not educate every kid to their highest and fullest potential, because when again you look at the demographics, you look at the numbers, as we move through the system, there's going to be more of us out here being a drain on the system than there are being producers in 10 years. And so every one of those kids has to be successful in what they do. We just cannot afford not to. And we need your help to get us the resources to do that. When you look at the numbers, you look at what we've had to work with, and the reductions and what have you, and then you look at the expectations placed on us. Schools initially weren't made to do what the community is, what the country is asking us to do, but we're doing it. And we're doing it on a shoestring, and we need help. And we can't keep pushing it back on our local taxpayers, our local property owners. So again, we need your help with tax reform. We need your help with funding. We need that shift to start shifting the other way. And again, getting us the resources. We've got a great group of teachers here. These people are busting their backs to try and make ends meet here. We've got a great staff on board here. I think we've done some miraculous things over the last 7 years as trying to do what we can do to keep this place afloat. But again, we're coming to the end here where there's no more rabbits in the hat. And again, I appreciate the work you're doing. And believe me, for those of you that are in office, we're going to be down there pounding on your door. So with that, I guess we're ready to end it up. And so thank you all for being here. Let's give them all a round.